Welcome to the Spark Starter Podcast. I'm your host, Danielle Nicole. Tune in to hear conversations with inspiring people, creative innovators, and industry experts. These episodes will ignite a spark and have you thinking about the world in a whole new way. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode. I'm your host, Danielle Nicole. Today's episode is on empowering yourself as an individual, empowering your life, and for those who are running organizations, how to empower and uplift your teams to the next level. On today's episode, I interviewed Satyen Raja, who has coached people from all walks of life, from Olympic athletes to real estate moguls, talk show hosts to high-tech entrepreneurs, from homeless to billionaires, and everyone in between. Satyen has a powerful transmission as he speaks, so not only his words, but his essence and his energy has such a powerful presence in the rooms that he is in. I've experienced him I met with him in Colorado in a community. We did a personal development class together, and his presence really struck me. It was very inspiring and embodied, powerful man. And Satyen is known as the private transformational mentor, advisor, and confidant to powerful and influential leaders. He combines Eastern wisdom and Western practicality in his approach and has invested over 35 years of rigorous study and practice in both creating an enlightened business growth and higher states of awareness and being, so you can live the life that you are meant to be living here. He has worked with over 100,000 students in over 50 plus countries. It is a true honor to interview you, Satyen, and I look forward to you all hearing this episode, see where you can integrate some of these ideas into your personal life. He talks a lot about life as a holistic perspective, and it's not just about leading in business or having that be your sole focus or your work, whatever that is, whatever you're pushing to achieve, but really looking at your life as the big picture and all the different pieces and how those are interconnected to create an empowered lifestyle. So let's dive in. Thanks, everybody. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Satyen, for being with us here today on our podcast.
Daniel, wonderful to be here with you always. I really enjoy our connection and the heart space we hold. So perfect.
Thank you so much. So I met Satyen a couple of years ago at a personal development retreat with a group of powerful leaders from all around the world. And I was so impressed and taken back by your presence. That's something that really struck me, the way that you show up, who you are, what you do in the world, and really your being. And so I was looking through your website, and I loved this piece because I definitely can see this, that you are known affectionately as the Morpheus of consciousness by clients, and you help them to exit the matrix. And I love that. I'm like, oh, that's totally how I feel about you and your presence. And I actually just want to start on that because I just watched that movie again not too long ago, and it's such a powerful message. I'm curious from you to hear, what does it really mean to exit the matrix, or who are you becoming in this process?
Well, the matrix is this conditioned world that we live in. You know, the world that we see is a reflection of the inner state of our consciousness. So whatever's going out there, as we all know, our interpretation of it is what makes us more free or makes us more jailed in consciousness. And so to exit the matrix, we have to first take a look at what are our belief systems, where are our unconscious family allyships or loyalties that we're doing from love but are actually harming us today. We don't even realize it, or contracting us. We have to take a look deeply at our self-worth and our sense of who we are and what we are, and how much do we value that. And to the degree we don't value ourselves, to the degree we don't know who we are, to the degree that we are immersed in getting reflection and aiming to appease and make everyone else happy and make everyone else feel like, hey, am I somebody? When all that's going on, we immerse ourselves in the matrix of illusion. We forget our true nature. So for me, the practice of awakening is the first step to remove ourselves from this conditioned reality, which is not our true nature. To do that, we got to inquire, who am I? What am I? What is life? What is another? And especially now during this very profound time, as we were just chatting, of transformation and possibility, this is such a right time to go within our soul and ask ourselves, forget about the past, forget about who we think we are, what we are. What are we now? Who are we now? How would life, love, truth live us now? And the alignment to that, the conviction to live that way, that to me is exiting the matrix and entering the reality of our soul mission, our soul purpose. And I believe all of us leaders are poised right now to step up, to step in and deepen our presence, our love, our offering in the world like no other time in history. So that's the internal challenge, the internal invitation of spirit, of Gaia, of these times, to wake up, grow up, and to be of service in a way like we've never done before. That is the ultimate waking up.
That's so beautiful. And I'm almost imagining this person who is in their day-to-day life. There's so many people like this where we are on social media, we're being filled up with media or outside messages and stories. And we're in kind of like that point where we're wanting something to shift. We're feeling that resistance against something doesn't feel right in my life. I'm feeling something's feeling off. I'm curious, when you decide to make that leap, you say into the matrix or embodying your true self, how do you know, first off, what does it even look like on the other side? Like, what is possible on the other side? And when you're in that resistance place and you don't even know where to start, is there a place where you can start to observe more, anything specific one can do to start becoming more true to who they are in their life?
These are very, very powerful questions you've just asked. I'll share my experience of it. So, first of all, you can never know what's on the other side of the matrix. That's the risk. That's the risk of the unknown. That's the risk of the risk. That's the falling into what is new. Who am I in a new way? You know, in Zen monastic practice, in Zen self-inquiry or vichara and yoga, meaning the inquiry of the self, you have to be able to take whatever you know of who you are. I'm a father to somebody. I'm a son to somebody else. I'm a husband to someone. I'm a coach and a mentor to others. I'm a student and disciple to others. I have so many roles, but those roles are identities that we are wearing and coming in and out. Right now, I'm in the identity of someone being interviewed. You're in the identity of someone interviewing. So these are identities. The identities that we have are actually not us. Our identities are the roles, the games, the facades that we're wearing, or if you will, the interaction mechanism, the cloak we're wearing to work with each other, to be with each other in relationship. But it can only go so deep. We can only touch each other and awaken each other and touch each other's hearts so deeply coming from our identity shells, our personality structures. To have real freedom, you said it right at the beginning, you have to dive into where is their discomfort. Many of us have high-grade discomfort right now, stresses around money, COVID, elections, the list goes on. There's, existential challenges on a world level, and then there's personal, day-to-day stuff, challenges, shit, hurt, pain, suffering, mismatches in communication. We got the macro and our personal lives to deal with. But then we also have a low-grade dissatisfaction that's underneath all of it. We can feel, not all of us, but many of us have this low-grade dissatisfaction. It's like a tugging being that something's not right. I'm not dialed in with reality. It's hard to put words on, right? This feeling. The warrior sage is one who says, I'm going to enter. This is the soft part of the warrior, the enlightened warrior. We enter the dissatisfaction deeply. You must be willing to enter it and feel it fully without distracting yourself with drugs or alcohol or social media or silliness or superficiality, the things that keep us, superficially entranced in the machine. We got to be able to go, listen, I want freedom, even though I don't know what it looks like. I want the depth and the expansion of love and enlightenment and liberation. Even if I only have imaginings of it, I want the truth more than I want this pattern of living in this world where I have low-grade fear, low-grade tension, low-grade unhappiness, and that I'm masking it. We have to, first of all, be willing to unmask, do the opposite of spiritual bypassing, which is going right into higher dimensions through drugs or medicines or whatever. Those are all great. But first, we got to be able to sink into the dirt of being, into the discomfort. Where do I feel messed up? Where do I feel not congruent with who I am? Where am I lying to myself, my family, my friends? Where am I suppressed, repressed in life? Those are real questions, but you can't ask them with the mind. You got to walk away, take the time to feel these daily. What I've experienced is that when we're willing to go into the discomfort of the low-grade tensions in our life, there's a deep well of being. There's a deep well of resources in there. Just by feeling attention on those things, they start to unravel. By feeling those dissatisfactory states within us, it starts to unravel. That energy starts to unravel, and then it comes into the power of our choice. Then we get real. We don't go into these imaginary foo-foo worlds. We get real with our joys, with our happiness, and the areas where we're discontent. That discontent is a launching pad for true wisdom. But you got to feel it fully. You got to own it fully. And then you got to say, my life is about freedom over the status quo. This is where we got to drum up the energy above and beyond the momentum of our everyday life. That's the challenge. Am I willing to find the momentum to go beyond the momentum of how I've been? And I believe all of us can do that right now. And that we're supported by the universe to do that right now more than any other time in history. So in other words, wake up, all of us. Let's get to our courage. Let's get to our love. Let's not wallow in the smallness and the contraction.
You are so amazing. I love your powerful transmissions. Your energy is like shaking my body in such a potent way right now. I love what you're saying about those like tiny little feelings of discomfort, those areas where you're feeling like something is off. It's so small and maybe even hard to detect, but there lies the answer for us to go deeper and ask ourselves these real questions so that we can be more fully us in this life that we're here to live and not be trapped in these stories and illusions that are not ours. So I read on your website that you do a lot of work with leadership mastery. And I know currently you're working with very high level CEOs, and that you help them to embody a new paradigm that helps them to lead their teams and they're into peak performance. I'd love to hear from you, for those that are listening that have teams or that are CEOs and leaders. What are some of the tools or messages that you're currently sharing to CEOs right now that you are inspired by?
So the CEOs I work with are amazing beings. They are people committed to not only bettering their own lives, they're committed to bettering the lives of their teams. They're committed to bettering the lives of the planet, everyone on the planet, all sentient life. You know, I only work with people who have that level of desire and care and intentionality, but perhaps don't know how. Perhaps they're mired down with all types of thoughts, overwhelm, exhaustion. This is the number one thing I'm seeing: overwhelm, exhaustion, burning the candle at both ends, high intentions, but not enough life force to fulfill it. And most importantly, I'm seeing excessive yang force, excessive pushing, excessive willpower. We look at the paradigms of business today. There's terms like crush it. Like, think about that. If you want to have success and you're identifying that or associating that with the term crush it, eventually we'll be crushed. Anyone I've seen who goes out there and blares on their horn about crushing it, if you look at them behind the persona, they're probably exhausted, tired. Many of them have poor relationships, suffering, broken relationships, ill health, and a deep lack of well-being and centeredness in reality. So the most important thing I start off with all the leaders that I'm training with, is look at the areas in our life that are causing us struggle, overwhelm, exhaustion, and anxiety. Based on the nature of leaders, we are the ones that like to move forward. You're a leader. We like to move forward. We like to keep moving forward. We don't like to stay stuck in the mud. We're creators, right? Struggle is effort that is laced with negative emotion. The idea that there's no effort required is illusionary. Effort is required, but struggle is optional. That's the extra we add on it. So how do we remove the struggle states from our being and enter more states of flow? All of the CEOs and leaders I'm working with, they want to make a bigger impact, taking the path of least resistance. Not just a bigger impact, not just bigger reach and bigger success and bigger expansion. They need to, and we all need to, us leaders, to move towards that, not using peak performance anymore. To me, peak performance is an outdated paradigm. It's like I have my car, I can fine tune these spark plugs, I can put the best gas in, I can tune it up, and it's going to get the peak performance that the car is designed for, right? But there's a point where I can't push it any harder. I can bore out the cylinders, better spark plugs, I can do better fine tuning of the machinery. But the more I push it, the more I'm trying to get more power out of this machine. I believe the next paradigm is peak existence. An equilibrium of being. For me, peak existence means living a life of the freedoms, having deep faith in the universe, deep faith in the divine, deep faith in life. So F is for faith, if you will. Family. Equilibrium means having deep love and connection and wholeness in family. Faith, family, finances, not just great earning, but earning. Wisdom with your savings, wisdom in how you spend in a way that's aligned with nature, aligned with goodness, not just extrapolating and pulling and overspending. Earning, saving, spending, investing in a way that uplifts the whole. So faith, family, finance, fitness. We all know about fitness. We all know the virtues, the values of fitness. But if we see fitness as part of one of the ropes that make up a big, strong rope, that rope can never be broken if each one of these strands, faith, family, finance, fitness, and of course, there's fun. Meaning, what is our joy, our ecstasy, our feminine side? Not just, there's a masculine illusion in our being that one day when I've checked off this, that one day I'll be totally free to do and enjoy this. Bullshit. Everyone I've seen delay happiness and joy and freedom into the future, it always backfires. We must find fun and joy and humor now. The magic in this connection, the magic in my connection, the next connection. So for me, peak performance, it was good to get us into a space of high output and high achievement. Great. Let's applaud ourselves for that. Now, let's go to the next level of dimension together, and equilibrium. Internally, equilibrium with existence, equilibrium with Mother Gaia, equilibrium with our families. When we have equilibrium and we recognize there's not one of these areas, I cannot just focus on business and later. I learned this the hard way, by the way. I had a great, huge multi-million-dollar company, seminars all over the world, rock star life. And my own family was starving for my attention. And I decided years back, I can't do this anymore. It's duplicit, that I must find equilibrium, not because it's cool to be balanced, but in fact, my aims, my intentions in all these realms magically all grow in a very powerful way. So that's what I've been training leaders in, is bringing their life into equilibrium, finding where they overextended in yang energy and where they're overextended in willful energy is really simple. Is because, and here's the root of peak existence. Peak performance is cultivated by adding importance to things. I'm going to make that important. We got to hit that goal, so let's go for it. That's the addition of excessive importance onto an energetic field. Unfortunately, that excessive importance backfires and drains us. We can shoot ourselves in the foot. We go strong in one area, we suffer in another area. So what do? We have to lower the importance of all the things we've attributed excess importance to, coming more into a Taoist way of life. a softer, gentler, tender way of life, where we're more sensitive to our innermost, we're sensitive to each other, and we're sensitive to how life would want to live us rather than just how we want to live ourselves. The information coming from the earth plane, Gaia herself right now, to direct us, to inform us, to infuse us with this path of equilibrium and peak existence, we can learn right now. We just have to take off our shoes and walk in the grass every day, breathe the air, and love, come back into nature. So those are some points. Lower importance, lower importance, lower importance, and increase your willingness to live a life of equilibrium.
I so resonate deeply with what you're sharing about the overuse of yang energy when we talk about business or leadership in the world. And there's definitely conversations and different words, you know, hustling and pushing and forcing, keep going, keep grinding, everything you're sharing. I'm really curious about this because I have felt this in my own life. I've experienced feeling burnout as well because of pushing and pushing and pushing. And I'm curious to even kind of go more deep into the yin and yang. How can we actually lead with the yin, which is, I'd love to hear from you what the two really mean, but a softer, more feminine flow state in your business and still reach the success you want to do. Is there anything specific inside the actual business, or do you see this as it really is about all, of course it's about all of your life, integrating that. Is there anything specific about how you're actually showing up at work and leading with your teams or a day-to-day basis?
So there's a term we use in our work, a distinction between internal intention and external intention. And this comes from a teaching called reality transurfing, one of the training books I like to use. But here's a simple principle. Internal intention is what we're used to in everyday success. Go for it, crush it, make it happen. Massive action equals massive results. You know, we've heard those sayings. But a massive action equals massive results also equals, what they don't tell you, is massive heartache, massive burnout, and massive other consequences that we didn't even realize. So the external world might look to others, hey, we're achieving success, but internally, if we're not happy, we're not feeling like we're connected to the joy of existence, then have we become truly successful? We need to redefine and say, no, there's got to be a deeper level of success than material gain. Although that's valuable in this day and age to have freedom. So in business specifically, one of the things we do is we shift from internal intention, which is the go for it attitude, to external intention. Now, external intention, we've heard of it in simple, you know, grade 1, 2, 3 level would be like The Secret, you know, the idea of have an intention that you're putting out in the world. So in all the teamwork that we do, the team dynamic work we do in the organizations I work with, they all are solid. Some of them already hit their 10X mark. All of them, each and every one, are moving towards their 10X mark in less than 3 years. This is profound. Some of these companies are billion-dollar companies and such. Why is that happening? Well, first of all, we're looking at the overall energetic pattern of the organization. We're looking at how much energy is being devoted to internal intention and how to shift that to external intention. One of the easiest ways to do this, and I'm going to give you a very pragmatic way in an organization, okay? In every organization, to move up the ladder, you have to grow your significance. You have to grow your reputation. You have to prove to your leaders, your bosses, those above you, that, hey, look at my reputation and significance is being built by what I've done here. They recognize what you've been doing, your good work, your hard efforts, and then you raise up the ladder all the way up to CEO as an example, okay? Now, traditionally, to raise up the ladder, you have to be focused on your own success, your own reputation and significance. Now, every time we do that, unfortunately, you know, this is where the idea of people stepping on each other's toes, stepping on each other, pushing each other out of the way, making others sound bad or not accomplished enough to get to where you need to be. All these inner games, all these egoic games that are in organizations. These egoic backstabbings, these egoic one-upmanships, these egoic charades people playing. They're not really being their true self. You can grow a company, but it only grows so much. Now, the first thing that I do with organizations is I take them through a team limitless experience, or actually I take them through an alliance experience. I find out where is the biggest chaos in the system. What is everyone's number one biggest problems as a whole, whatever it is. I take them through a group experience where we transmute that energy that's all clogged up and contracted and open it up. When we open up and transform that energy, what used to be sucking of life force now adds to the life force. How do we do that? Very simple. So if I were you and my teammate, I would tell you directly, Danielle, let's say we're on the marketing team as an example together. I would say, Danielle, a way that you can serve and improve my reputation and significance is when you know of if you see me doing something good, let other people know about it. When I need some materials done so that I can share with the next people on my team, please have those done on time so my reputation doesn't suffer, because I actually need you to fulfill that so I can take that, do my work, and give it to these folks. So I give you, Daniel, a step-by-step instruction on ways that you might be able to uplift my reputation and significance to the whole team. Once you've done that, and then I'll also tell you, Danielle, please don't do this. When you do this, or if you perhaps might do that, it will lower my reputation and significance. So I'm going to educate you on what lowers my reputation and significance. I'm going to educate you and request of you, invite you to do more of what raises my reputation and significance. Now you've got it. You've got it candidly. There's no BS. There's no corporate walls. There's no corporate faces. You know how to uplift me, and you've been shared how, and you've been taught how from me. Now, when I hear you going, okay, Satyan, I'd love to do that, then guess what? You're going to say the same to me. Satyan, here's the way you lower my reputation, a way you might reduce my significance if you do this and this and this. What I would rather have is you increasing my reputation and my significance. Would you kindly do this more of? Bring me this, share who I am to your team leaders, celebrate and acknowledge me when I'm doing well with your other teammates. You're going to give me the exact instructions on how to raise your significance and reputation and how to avoid lowering it. Now that we know that with each other, we've turned the organization from peak performance, struggle-based, ego-based. We've transmuted it in 180 degrees into a co-service where I am here literally to uplift you. And I know how. And you're here to uplift me, and you know how. The knowing how evokes the care. And that transformation from raising your own significance and reputation to being of service to your teammates' reputation and significance, that kicks in external intention. It kicks in a magical feel, literally. It's a magical feel that awakens in the group dynamic, and literally the team becomes limitless. There's nothing that they cannot do. Nothing.
So this is a whole new way to view how we are doing leadership. It's not just about the person on top. It's about all of us collaborating together, sharing our gifts and lifting each other up. I do believe positive affirmations is going to make a person do more when they receive that. I love what you're sharing about the communication piece. So I'm imagining the way that you do your trainings or your teaching sounds like a lot around communication. Do you have anything in addition to any tangible things that CEOs can start to think about with their teams, or other practices that you do that you could do with your team today to experience some of this shift?
Actually, I've got 2 books coming out that go deep into this. One is called The Transcendent CEO, and the other companion book that goes with it is called The Transcendent Culture, Running Operations and Organizations. These are all principles on maximum impact, taking the path of least resistance. Why I have that philosophy is because I've been immersed in martial arts for many years. And as you go up the stages of martial arts skill levels, you're actually meant to use less energy. You're meant to use more wisdom, more smarts, more awareness, more sensitivity, less yang force, less pressure. So I've shared with you one way, the lowering and the raising of significance, to communicate that out in a real way, in a real way. The other thing I recommend for all organizations is to have a consistent personal growth, human potential focus for your organization. Care about their well-being and their growth as an individual, not just their growth as an individual so that they can serve the company in a stronger way, which will happen, but have as one of the pillars the care for your team, to have them grow, exposing them to personal growth, human potential, meditation, mindfulness, spirituality, amazing communication. And even if it's not directly connected to how that will work in business, just the fact that we're caring about the maturation, the growth, the evolution of our teammates' souls, their hearts, their relationships, when we can start caring about not just the output. I mean, the term, think about it, human, HR department, human resources. It's such a cold, it's like cattle, human resources. We're not resources. We're divine beings. Each and every one of us are profound, divine goddesses and gods, divine beings in this experience. The secret of the transcendent CEO and leader is, even though we're interacting this way with work and whatever we need to do, inside, I know you're a divine being. I recognize you as a conscious being with choice, not just as a worker. I recognize and I acknowledge you as a conscious being that has choice. So whenever I'm speaking to you, it's not like, hey, do this, complete this. I recognize you have choice to do or not to do. And I speak to you with the honor and respect of a divine being with choice. I might not say that verbally. They might not meet that language. That might be a language barrier spiritually. But internally, I see you. And I see your goodness. I see your value. And I'm here to praise, acknowledge, direct, and invite you into your power, into your clarity, into your wholeness. This dedication to the upliftment. So ultimately, the transcendent leader is one who defers their ego. They rescind their ego and they go underneath their team and lift them up. They don't come down here and pull them up. They go underneath their teammates in an emotional, spiritual disposition. And they become a reverse pyramid where the leader is at the bottom in service to the upliftment of the whole. This is not a one-time contemplation. This is a way of life to commit to. And I promise everyone who does, they will have the most exemplary teams, dedicated and loyal and willing to go way beyond the extra mile for the sake of the organization.
Satya and I have one more question for you before we wrap up. So for those that are listening and they're inspired by what you're sharing and what is possible to experience inside of an organization, we've talked about the CEOs and the leaders. I actually have a friend of mine who shared about a company that he's currently employed in where there's a level of disconnection, dishonesty, a lot of distrust, criticism, a lot of maybe what you'd call an old paradigm inside of an organization, lack of company culture, disconnection from each other. And I know that he wants to have a powerful company culture for his team. And what would you suggest for those that are working inside of companies? They are employees, they're listening to you right now, and they're thinking, I would love to be inside of a company like this. What is the best way for them to approach their CEO or company owners to share this as a possible piece?
Well, first of all, it takes courage. It takes courage to say, listen, to hear this potential that's here. And this is real. I'm not just talking, airy-fairy here. I'm seeing this in the 10 companies I'm working with right now are flourishing, infusing these Warrior Sage transcendent principles into their organization, all flourishing, their teams, their business, the well-being. It's really miraculous to experience. So what we've done at Warrior Sage here is I would invite everyone to say, come and experience. We've created a 2-hour webinar seminar where I actually come into your organization online and I do a process called Alliance. And companies have to qualify. There's no charge for it, but they have to qualify for it by asking us and checking if it's the right fit. But we give a complimentary seminar to all organizations. And the first thing that we do with this Alliance process in this 2-hour seminar is we find out what the team's biggest collective problem is, or individual problem, the emotional shit that's getting in the way of true fluidity and true flow in the organization. Believe it or not, in 2 hours, we transmute that and we get the team totally aligned. We offer this complimentary because during this COVID time, I've recognized there is so much uncertainty in the business world. People are scared. Even if they don't say it on the outside, people are nervous around their solidity of work. They're scared about the future. They don't even know what's happening in the future. So to ensure a bright future, we have to solidify a solid now. We have to solidify an alignment, a fullness, a feeling of, yes, we can do it in the now. To do that, we need to remove the unconscious fear or unconscious contraction. So I invite everyone to go to warriorsage.com, contact us, find out, and go to your CEO and say, listen, there's this great organization that's willing to give a seminar on bringing us from chaos into coherence in a very rapid way. There's no cost, no obligation, and the potential here is for our company to really go to the next level. So to make a genuine invitation, and then we can have a chat online. If it's a fit, we'd be happy to provide that and serve the organization.
Awesome. And Satyan, you mentioned your website, warriorsage.com. Is there anywhere else that they can get connected to you on social media?
Absolutely. So warriorsage.com is one site, and there's my personal site, Satyen Raja, SatyenRaja.com. And then we're also we have a Warrior Sage community on Facebook. So if you just go to Warrior Sage, punch in Warrior Sage community, say you'd like to be invited in the community, and then you can get on there and find out all the good stuff we share about.
I'm inside that Facebook group, and I have to say it is pure gold, pure transmissions. So I highly recommend it. And for those just getting to know Satyan, he is masterful in teaching self-leadership, helping teams, organizations, as well as relationships, tantric work, how to have a holistic lifestyle that is truly you and one that you feel powerful in. Thank you so much, Satyan, for your gifts and what you share, your transmission. I love that you said that earlier. This is more than just your words. You can feel your energy, and you are a true gift and powerful speaker. So thank you so much for joining us today. And definitely go follow Satyan, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone listening. Much love to you. And be free during this time when others aren't. This is the best time to be more free than ever before.
Yes.
All my love.
Much love, everyone. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked or enjoyed this session, please subscribe or share with a friend. We look forward to having you join again for our next Spark Starter episode.